This camera angle, they don't want to work today. This is what you do. This is all the background fiddling you do when you record videos. Hey guys, it's Lita. Hope you're all amazing. And if you are not, I hope my video puts a smile on your beautiful faces and makes you laugh. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream that I did about a few days ago that I announced in my last video I was going to do. I ended up looking at actually the spring 2019 anime and seeing what looked cool, what I might watch later on. And it was a good time just talking to a bunch of people and friends, so it was good. Hopefully maybe I'll do more streams with more people for the future. In this video, yes, we are talking some manga because I feel, yeah, there's still not been enough manga talk, but I have been participating in a manga challenge, which I've already done my first readathon this year and I vlogged it, which was so fun. I got a bunch of new manga read, I read some old. It was great. This manga challenge has been going on since the start of this week because we're in April now. April! That's nuts. This manga challenge is by a fellow manga YouTuber that I only discovered probably about a couple of months ago. His name is Lohali and he is an awesome, chill dude. I love how chilled his videos are and he just emanates his love of manga through his videos, and he started his own manga challenge called Lohali30For30, which means this challenge you have to read a volume of manga for the entire month of April, like once a day. I will link his video down below because I believe it is never too late to participate in any of these challenges. If I had found out about this challenge maybe later on, I still would have entered it anyway because it doesn't matter. And, you know, this is all about, you know, reading manga and catching up on things that you haven't had a chance to catch up on. Because sometimes, like, you know, doing a 24-hour readathon, sometimes people don't have that time to read for 24 hours straight. So I love this challenge that he came up with. I wasn't initially going to do it, but then I gave in. I think I'm giving in to all these bloody manga challenges and stuff. So I decided for each week, on a Sunday, I will do a wrap up of the manga volumes I have read during the week. So yeah, this is a great compromise. I'm reading and I'm talking about it on the channel. What is better? I have been posting on my Twitter and Instagram each day of what I have been reading, so if you would like to know what I read during the course of April, that is where to find out. So without further ado, let's get in to what I have been reading for the past week, and it's quite an array of selection I have here, and I dare say next week's will be an array of selection. I will try and go in order. I can't remember what I read certain things in order. A few of these are actually borrowed from the library, and there's a couple of digital ones in this, and there's one I own. But mostly I think the majority of what I end up reading this month is going to be digital and library borrowed. Which there is nothing wrong with that because, you know, who can afford, you know, to buy so much manga all at the same time? Not me over here. So for day one, I was feeling some supernatural, I was. And I decided to pick up a series, read the next volume. This is volume 2, and I read the first volume back in January, or was it December? It was around December, January. And that is The Demon Prince of Momichi House. And this is by Aya Shoatoa? God, you guys know how my pronunciation of Japanese names is butchered. This is a girl by the name Himari who, when she was 16, she ends up leaving an orphanage. She has no parents, and she ends up finding that a will was left to her. And in this will, an entire mansion known as the Momichi House was left to her. So upon arriving at her new home, she discovers this beautiful boy here and his two fellow other guys, some and she mistakes them for being squatters living in her mansion. She finds out that Momichi House is actually a borderline between the human world and the spirit world. And this guy here named Aoi, he is known as a Nyui. There's another name for it because it's also on the back of here. A Amamori-sama. He's the guardian of the house. And he's been stuck in this house since he was a young boy. And he's never gone out into the real world ever since then. And she then becomes entangled in the supernatural craziness that is in this. I've known about the series for a fair while now. I'd say past couple of years, and it is definitely the sort of thing I'm a sucker to get into. You know, people were saying, oh yeah, it's like, you know, Kami-sama Kiss kind of, and you know, I like, you know, me some supernatural love fantasy stuff. Throw that at me. We're good. First thing I would like to say before anything, if I'm a fan, the favorite page in this volume. So I have to commend on the art style for this. Aya Showatoi's art style. I love it. I love how everything looks really detailed, and like I love how she highlights eyes. See how Himari's eyes look there? Like it just like so stands out, and everything looks beautiful, especially the scenes where when Aoi transforms into his guardian form, which does look like, you know, the guy from Kami-sama Kiss, I forgot his name. But yeah, like that is gorgeous artwork. So the artwork for this series is beautiful. Like it's something to definitely appreciate. In terms of like right now where I'm at with the story, like of course, like, you know, like I like this series. I mean it's not hard to like being a romance fan, but like I have issues with the pacing of the series right now. Like volume 1, everything happened really fast, quickly, of how Aoi and Himari's bond has built already. It's just, yeah, everything's happened so quickly, and I've just not really had time to like process it all. You know, I was hoping for maybe there'd be like a little build up before they got to the point of, oh, Cuckoo Eyes, I think I have a crush on you. And I'm worried for how that is going to affect the development of the story. Not saying that the characters are not charming, like, at all. Like, I find all the characters charming, especially his, Aoi Shikikami, the other two guys. I mean, there's not really much to say about them. I feel like they're just, you know, they're pretty boys, you know, will protect him. I've definitely built a soft spot for Aoi, you know, because, it covers in this volume of how he cannot leave the house, and now Himari is at a stage where she is trying everything to try and free him. So, you know, he's been imprisoned. Also, I have a soft spot for Himari because, you know, both of these two, you know, they don't really have anywhere to go. Himari came from an orphanage, and, you know, it's kind of cliche. Of course, they're going to build a bond together. I'm fascinated by the spirit world in this story. You know, I love all that supernatural yokai spirits. It's always fascinating. It's magical. It's magical. And, you know, there's already been some, you know, funny situations that have happened. And also, it's interesting to know that Himari, because she is the owner of the Momichi house, she actually has the will banish spirits, but she has to just say the word get out, which is funny. So she has some sort of power manipulation over the house, which is cool. I'm glad that she's not just this mundane human that is the owner and that's it, there's nothing else about her. So I'm glad that she has a connection with this house, and maybe something cool will happen with it. Maybe, we'll find out. But so far, I am, you know, liking the series. It's just, you know, everything's happening really fast, and I'm still not sure how I feel about it. But yeah, can't wait to continue this. And I already have volumes 4 and 5, I forgot, from the library, so we'll see how we go. Next up that I read was a series that I read the first volume of in the 24-hour manga love readathon. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was ecstatic for where the story was going to go. Again, I borrowed these from the library, and I have volumes 4 and 5 somewhere. And this is Devil's Line, volumes 2 and 3. And this is by Ryo Hanada. Now, Devil's Line I first heard about from Simply G. a fellow manga YouTuber and anime collector. Go check her out, she's awesome. She absolutely loves this series, and she reeled me in how much she adores this series, and particularly the art style of this, because I find is quite unique. I especially love the parts where, here, I'll show you a favorite scene of this one. Like, I love this. This is awesome. It's a beautiful scene. How he's like hanging over the girl. But this story is a vampire romance, and you may know about this series because it was developed into an anime, but I have not seen the anime yet. I actually want to finish the manga first before I delve into the anime. And this story is about in a world setting where in society there are these vampire creatures known as devils. And none are known to the human race. They try to keep themselves hidden, and devils do not thirst for human blood. But if they taste human blood, they actually turn into these ferocious monsters. They lose control big time. It really centers on the main pair, which is Tsukasa and Anzai. Now, Anzai is our main male protagonist. He is a devil. He's known as a half devil. So he's half human, half devil. And he works for secret police, but it's really for devils, and they go after, you know, any devil hunters or devils themselves that are going to cause trouble. So I love the criminal police element in this story. It definitely makes everything really, really exciting. I mentioned this in my first impressions, but since reading volumes 2 and 3, the story has picked up quickly. In terms of, like, you know, action factor and finding out more about devils. It's been really fascinating. I honestly can't remember what my thoughts were initially for what I thought about Anzai and Tsukasa's relationship. Tsukasa and Anzai developed a bond quite quickly, but already in volumes 2 and 3, the pair do not know much about each other at this stage, and Tsukasa really wants to know more about Anzai, and he's just really reluctant. Because one of the things in this story to do with devils is that it is actually legal for devils and humans to have sex, which is an interesting element for the story. And this has become, at the moment, it's starting to become a roadblock for the pair. And of course, I want to know how, you know, the pair deal with getting through all the roadblocks and the detours they're going to go through, because it's not going to be easy for this pair. But I just love the sweet bond that they've built already. There is this understanding between the pair that, you know, Tsukasa is a very awkward individual. You know, there's nothing that really makes her stand out. But I love how she really wants to get to know Anzai, and, you know, Anzai is just reluctant at the moment. He's like trying to pull himself back. And then there's all this other stuff that's going on where in volumes 2 and 3 devils have been exposed through a certain incident, and we're finding out all these new things about devils that I didn't know before. So it is becoming incredibly interesting already. It's been a while since I've read any vampire-like romance. The last one I read was like a smut one called Midnight Secretary, which, you know, that's a soft spot for me. So it's been quite some time, and I just absolutely love Devil's Line and where it's going, where it's building. I love this author's art style as well. It's very unique. This series is enthralling and thrilling to me, and it's alluring. It's damn alluring. Definitely check out Devil's Line. And also, I found out that this ended from an article I read around the 28th of December, that the final 2 chapters of this series would be released in volume 13. So I think volume 13 is the last volume for this. So yeah, this is nearly ended. So that's a bonus for me, because I don't have to wait around for like ages for it to finish. So that's a bonus. All right. Next up, what I read during the week. You may have seen in my recent anime haul. I have not had a chance to read it yet. I did a first impression on this already at the beginning of the year, and fell in love with it completely. And that is Kiss Me at the Stroke of Midnight. And this is by Rin Mikimoto. Rin Mikimoto, she's done some other works. There's one called Koya no Kiri, which is currently publishing only digitally, I think, at the moment, yeah. And then there's another work that she's done, and Again, there's a lot of appreciation in this for art styles. I cannot tell you how in love I am with Rin Mikimoto's art style. It's so, like, it can be pretty at times, and then it can be so, like, comical. It's so funny. So look, there's one of the character's expressions here. This is Hinana right there. And then at times it can just be so, like, cutesy. Oh my god, like, I love it. She loves to do her quirky, funny expressions, like, for her characters, and I so appreciate that about it. Like, here's one here. Yeah, see, really cutesy there. So her art style is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, that's so cute. This story is like a Cinderella comedy where it's really focused on the stories for fans that, you know, we dream about our celebrities. You know, we have our fantasies, you know, like, you know, I dream of, you know, maybe having a date with Hugh Jackman, that type of thing. But we know it's not, like, gonna happen. And the story focuses on high schooler Hinana, who lives a pretty boring, mundane life. Everyone else, she's a straight-A student, great and everything, but secretly she is a romanticizer. She loves fairy tale endings, fairy tale romances, wants the cute prince at the end of the fairy tale story. And she ends up being an extra in a movie which stars this popular actor, which is our main protagonist, Kaede. And then the pair become intertwined in each other's lives because of the movie, and then they end up meeting each other outside of it. And that one meeting sets in motion for the attraction between these pair. And realizing that Kaede is not, like, you know, the dream prince that, you know, is seen. She sees him on the posters and that, and the guy, you know, he's a bit of a quirky weirdo, like he's got a butt fetish. I love how Rin Mikimoto really wanted to direct this series or to the demographic of, you know, people like me, shoujo people, having our fantasies about, you know, like our anime characters, celebs, whatever. And you know, you really relate to the main character Hinana in this sense. And she really definitely cares about it. There's actually a little bit in here at the back of the manga where she talks about that, and definitely makes me appreciate her more as a manga author. I'm so in love with this series. I love Hinana and Kaede. I think they work so well together. They've got the same chemistry, and they're both like closet perverts in a way. Hinana is able to be more of herself when Kaede comes into her life, and that made me love Hinana's character even more. And you know, Kaede is not gonna let anything stand in their way for their relationship. I mean, there is, of course, you know, the element of they are in two different completely worlds. He is in, you know, the showbiz world, and she is just an average girl. Of course, this plays a massive roadblock for the pair. I imagine it will later on, but it's starting to show already just in volume 2. But volume 2 took the time to, you know, the pair have just started, like, you know, dating, and getting to see each other is not easy. Kaede is always busy, and of course that plays a lot on Hinana's mind. And Hinana is, you know, about as awkward as it will get for when you start dating somebody. The character expressions in this are, as I said before, hysterical, and the comedy factor is great. This is a fantastic rom-com. It really is. I mean, it may be so cliche of how quickly things have picked up already in the first 2 volumes, but I'm just so in love with these 2 characters. They're not afraid to be themselves. And I must commend also on how some of Hinana's outfits in this, the author Rin, she took the time to research what was the rage in fashion currently at the moment in Japan, and she's put that towards Hinana's character design, and she has all these cool different outfits, and they just look so good. So yeah, Kiss Me at the Stroke of Midnight. Cannot wait to have all the volumes, and I know there's up to volume 9. Now volume 9 comes out in June, so I cannot wait to sink my teeth into that. The last 2 I have to talk about, one I bought the volume 1 of, and the other I'm reading on Shonen Jump. So the one I bought, volume 1, I bought Perfect World, which is by Ri Araga, I think. I finally had the push to give it a shot, because Shay Geeks Out, which I've mentioned a few times before now on the channel, talked about how much she loves this series. One of the stories' huge focus is on disability, and I should say this is digitally. You can only get this digitally right now. And I think there's about 8 volumes from what Shay told me. Yes, there's 8 volumes. It's about a woman named Sugumi, who is a interior designer, and when she comes to a meeting one day, which is because her company are in collaboration with an architectural company, and they're both doing a collab together, and that's when she runs into her first high school crush, which was Itsuki. And after not seeing him for a few number of years, she discovers that he cannot walk. He is paralyzed in his legs due to a spinal cord injury from an accident that he had. And yeah, he's in a wheelchair. Of course, there's a rekindling of old love. Sugumi is thrown then the gauntlet of, oh, can I really date someone in a wheelchair? Volume 1 was, it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful the way it was handled about, from the perspective of someone being in a wheelchair, their day-to-day life. Like, it's so relatable, so real to how it is in real life. This series hit a personal chord with me, like big time, when it comes to disability. I won't go into too much in that because it's like private, that is for me, but I can't emphasize how much I like extremely related to this series. I loved that it highlighted in volume 1 about, you know, the acceptance is such a huge thing when it comes to disability. It doesn't matter if you're in a wheelchair or if it's, you know, intellectually, that, you know, you're going to have at least the people by your side that will accept you for you, that it doesn't matter about disability, you are still you. And I just loved that that was emphasized in this volume. It was only volume 1, and look, I already love Itsuki and Sugumi. I think they're beautiful souls. And I know that it's going to bloom into such a beautiful romance, but it's not going to be easy. I know it's going to be a really bumpy ride for the pair it is. And I found out that this series is getting developed into a live action movie. It's airing this April, because the article came out in January. And that's great. It's getting a Japanese live action movie. That's awesome. It should deserve it. I totally will watch it. I will totally watch it, most definitely. But like Shay, I encourage you guys just to go read this, especially if you relate to disability in some way. I just love real raw stories like this. It's been so long since I've read something like this, and I just cannot wait to continue it. Take my money, I'll spend it. The last one that I read, which was only last night, this has been a fun read so far. Something in between everything else. We need some nice fun reads, because I got halfway through maybe 2 weeks ago and I decided, oh, I should complete this now. So I've read about 1.5 volumes of Astra Lost in Space, which is by Kenta Shinohari, and I'm sure people know about Astra Lost in Space. I mean, it's getting an anime adaptation this summer, which was randomly announced, and I love this series. It's fun, and it's something great to read in between everything else. It's only 5 volumes. It's really easy to digest. I probably would have finished reading it by now, but you know, everything else with manga at the moment is so distracting. The story focuses on a group of 9 individuals that come together and they go on this space camp. When they eventually land on the planet where they're going to have their camp, they are sucked up by this mysterious ball of light, this sphere that comes heading towards them. They're sucked up in it, and then they are taken something 5,000 light years away from their location, and they're out in the middle of nowhere on this random planet. And then they find an old unmanned spacecraft, where then they decide to make the journey home. None of these guys know each other, they've never met before, and you know, this series is going to build up into how they, you know, their bonds grow, who gets close with who. But right now where I am with the story, it's gotten to a point where there's a mole in the group. Someone's trying to sabotage. And yeah, I feel like things are going to get really interesting. Like, I love all the characters in this group. There are some that have not had the chance to shine yet because I'm only a volume 1.5 into it. It was a real surprise to me, the hysterical comedy elements in this series. I laughed quite a bit through volume 1, a lot. It's so funny watching everybody argue together about the silliest things. And I cannot wait to just, you know, see where they go, if they end up home, who's sabotaging the ship. And yeah, like, I honestly highly recommend reading this as something fun to read, definitely to break up. If, say, like, you're reading something really intense or you just read something really sad, this is probably the best pick-me-up. So I cannot wait to finish it, and I think it's a 12 or 13 episode series. I imagine it's going to be, because it's only 5 volumes long. But hey, they can do what they want with the story, like go a different direction if they want to. I'm all for it when it comes to these, you know, anime adaptations, that, you know, things take a bit of a different direction instead of like sticking to the source. But yeah, Astro Lost in Space is so fun, and again, I thank you, Shay Geeks Out, because I heard this series from her. Yeah, that is it, guys. That is all the manga I have read for the first week of April, and I will show you actually what I plan to read today, because I have not read it yet, but I thought I'll leave it for next video. I plan to read today, and it's upside down. The Water Dragon's Bride. I have not caught up with this series for quite some time, so I'm going to have to probably reread volume 1 and 2. Look forward to over the next 3 weeks of April, you know, these end of recaps. They're going to come out on a Sunday, probably late Monday. Depends what I'm doing. And I'm honestly thinking about, you know, making Sundays my permanent days now for when videos come out, to be honest. It seems Sundays are my day where I really have more time to just, you know, take my time with editing and stuff. So I'll let you know about that. But let me know down below, are you planning to do this challenge? If you do plan to do this challenge, the hashtag to use is Lohali30For30. And don't worry that if you come in late doing this challenge, it really doesn't matter. It's all about having fun. You know, I'm trying to challenge myself a bit, and more so really for the fact that I want to, you know, read a lot more manga, which I'm really proud of myself over the last like 3 months of this year so far. I've read like quite a bit, discovered a few new series, which I haven't done prior to any of this. So I feel an achievement here, I do. So look forward to next week's weekly recap. I have no idea what I plan to read. All the links are down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye for now.